Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Cosmic Television Network. It's on YouTube. If you like this, please subscribe to it. We have every Sunday an exciting guest. I must have to tell you, just to make some things noted here for disclosure, that nothing we mention on this program is used to treat or cure any disease. Please contact your medical professional if you need any advice. Well, we also, my name is Emery Smith. For those of you who do not know who I am, I served in the military in the early 90s, the Air Force. I was part of military compartmentalized projects that had to do with tissue harvesting of tissues from unearthed origin. If you like that kind of stuff, you can watch the #1 show on Gaia TV. It's called Cosmic Disclosure. We're in our 30-some season right now, 31. I know we've already filmed so much this year that they have the whole year probably built out by now. But you can look at the link in the chat box we sent you, and you guys can register for that. It's fairly inexpensive. And you don't just get my Cosmic Disclosure, you get everybody that's on there. All the different New Age guys are on there. It's just a fantastic program for that. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can at the Cosmic Disclosure Alliance Facebook page, where all the people that are into cosmic disclosure show, and also just people that are interested in the extraterrestrial UFO disclosure. It's a great place to follow what we're doing, all the events that are coming up, and things like that. We also have 2 websites. One is emerystarlabs.com, where we have our medical type solutions and supplements. And we do also these amazing nonlinear scans, which we might touch a little bit on. And emerysmith.co also has a lot of our interviews on there. So if you don't go to the Cosmic Television Network on YouTube, you can also find some other ones that are not on there that we have, and they're all free. So check it out. I do want to say, I lost a dear friend 5 days ago. His name is Dwayne Ollinger. He was a business partner, best friend. You guys might have known him. He was the star of Blind Frog Ranch on Discovery Channel, where I made a few cameo appearances doing some materials testing and analysis. He's been struggling for a while with some things health-wise, and he went to the other side. I just want to say deepest condolences for his family and our team. It was a big hit for us. He was an intricate part of our inner circle, and he's the 4th person in 6 weeks that we have lost that are directly involved with us on the team. So it's been a little hectic, but we're strong. We know the afterlife has beautiful things awaiting, and that they'll be helping us on the other side. With no further ado, man, I got to get Anthony on here. Cameron, why don't you put Anthony up here? Anthony was a Marine in the 2000s. He's part of some MILAB. Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Emery?
I was just telling everybody, you're a former Marine, part of the MILABs before that, and you have ongoing amazing stories. And I just met you this year, and I'm glad we got to meet, because I think the audience would like to, hear what you have to say. I know we can't fit it all in 2 hours today, but we're going to break them in gently with your life and all the stuff that you have accomplished, and also the stuff that you're working on now. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Emery. I thank you for the opportunity. Definitely will take people into the extraordinary world, out of the ordinary world into the extraordinary. So it just was amazing just getting in touch with you through my friend John Mendez, and he also is connected with David Adair. And
this is what really sprung it on me when I'm getting these messages, not just from you, but from David and other people. They're like, my dad, Anthony's dad,
grandfather.
I'm sorry, his grandfather knew David Adair or worked with David Adair at Area 51
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Explain that. Let's just get into that real quick. What happened? How'd
Yeah.
you find that out? I know you guys had a private secret meeting and something came up.
Right. It's amazing how it came up. And when I found it out, it was definitely a puzzle piece in my, family's history and stuff and everything
Right.
that answered questions. And, I was talking to David, I met him, and, obviously understanding he's an engineer, about his propulsion systems, all that, how he's a child prodigy, got brought in, by the government through what's legal conscription is what they call it, when they're just like legally allowed to take you. That's what they did to David Adair. And what I found out was, when I was talking to David Adair, I was curious if he had heard of the X4 Hummingbird, because the X4 Hummingbird was the first line of vertical takeoff and landing jets for our military. And I asked him that because my grandfather, our family, we knew he was involved in things he couldn't talk about.
Right, of course.
So we didn't know anything. We knew he worked on lasers and propulsion systems, and there was but he actually had a patent out for what's called the reactor control thrust valve in the V2OL component of the X4. And I asked David Adair, I'm like, hey, do you know what the X4 is? He's like, yeah, I know what it is. I'm like, do you, my grandfather has a patent for that. His name is Walter Kaminsky. And he's like, I know Walter. And that was where it began. That was where the big can of worms opened up, because he informed me right there. He's like, I worked at Skunk Works in Area 51 with him. And I'm like, what? I was like, whoa, right there. And then he just started to tell me some stories about what they worked on. And these are pretty mind blowing, because we did know that my grandfather worked on the SR-71. For some odd reason, we knew I don't forgot where that got leaked out, but it did, and we knew he worked on the SR-71. But David Adair was able to fill me in more about the project, that when they worked on it, even to the point to where because when they met, I guess my grandfather, his last name is Kaminsky. He called my grandfather Maestro, because he thought it sounded like a conductor's name. So he called my grandfather Maestro. And my grandfather took him underneath his wing, because he was a young prodigy, that was blowing everybody's minds, because he was creating the propulsion engines that he was creating, that are creating artificial black holes. And so that was where he took him underneath his wing, and he was basically like, yeah, you're going to turn all these guys as assholes inside out, and talking all that kind of talk. And they worked on the SR-71 project together at Skunk Works. And he was able to tell me one time they were working, and my grandfather came up to him, and he was like, yeah, we really screwed the pooch, is what he said. They messed up, because one time when they were working on the SR-71, they were taking it and moving it out of a hangar bay, but the thermals, they left heat thermal signatures of the shadow in the hangar bay, so the Russians were able to pick up what the shape of the SR-71 looked like from their satellites.
Wow,
Yeah. And so I was like, when he told me that, I was like, wow, that's some classified information, because I'm like, that's pretty cool. I got to find out that the Russians, no, because they sent over a picture of the image of what it looked like.
I remember this story. Yeah.
Right. So my grandfather was there with him on that. And they also worked together at Area 51, where they worked on, my grandfather showed him the Tic Tac. They got to see the Tic Tac craft because I was like, oh, you got to work at Area 51. I'm like, what did you see? What did you get to see there? And he's like, yeah, Walter showed me the Tic Tac, and he said that they worked on teleportation. Like he actually said that he saw a grapefruit get transported across the room. But when the grapefruit was across the room, the insides were molecularly, put together right. So they didn't get the math right. And they joked about that. He joked about that. And so he worked on that. He also worked on the railgun. They worked on the railgun together. Talked about how it shot so fast that the round would basically fold in space around it, and they talked about being able to see that, and that the whole thing was it actually destroyed like a whole bunch of shit. It wasn't it destroyed a whole bunch of stuff that it wasn't supposed to destroy, but so it was successful, and then they got more funding and stuff like that. But there was other stories too he told me, but one of the most amazing stories was about the Aurora.
The Aurora.
Yeah, see, that was where, because in the line of experimental craft, that's where it disappeared.
Yeah, Cameron, sorry to interrupt. Cameron, go ahead and put a picture of the Aurora up. You'll find one online. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, actually, here's the thing: this is what I found out is that picture that you showed me isn't going to be the correct thing, because David Adair was able to explain to me what it really looked like. And that's what I understand, because they were able to keep it secret, because when they were talking about it, they didn't even talk about the name. They're like, oh, are you working on the thing? Are you doing the thing? Like, they obviously learned, but they were able to keep it secret. And but when I was studying and stuff about experimental craft, obviously during my childhood, because I'll get into that later, why I was doing that. I was learning about aircraft and things because I was being groomed for the secret space program. But basically, when I found out about all the experimental aircraft and then got to the Aurora, and David Adair was able to inform me that they worked on the Aurora together, and they actually, David Adair test piloted the Aurora and was able to tell me about the test piloting of it, and what it looks like is a giant teardrop. It goes Mach 36.
Yeah, is that anti-gravitic, of course, or
it's I don't know if it's anti-gravitic, because I know that the propulsion system does create a artificial black hole. So yeah, I guess
it has its own density field to go that fast.
Right.
Like
and they used David Adair's, his design in it, and as well as my grandfather designing the engine to go Mach 36, which to conventional military, there was nothing known about that goes that fast, and that's what they had back then.
Back then. Right.
I got to learn all about the secret things my grandfather had been involved in, and by meeting David Adair and finding out that he worked with my grandfather for 6 years, at Skunk Works and Area 51. And then he was also able to tell me something really amazing. Is he was telling me, because they meet together, and he told me they were all actually a whole bunch of the greatest minds met together at a bar in Princeton's. It was my grandfather, David Adair, Isaac Asimov, Gene Roddenberry, Carl Sagan, and Stephen Hawking. Like, they were all there, and they meet and talk, and he was able to, because my grandfather knew Stephen Hawking. They know Stephen Hawking. They work together, and I got to figure that out, which was amazing. I didn't know that about my grandfather. So it really did fill in a lot of holes, because he really was a brilliant mind, that wasn't able to speak about what he did. But that was where it really began for me. Being in the
Mhm.
secret space program was before I was born, and then I was born. And when I was born, my grandfather and my grandmother, they obviously are highly spiritually evolved beings, because my grandfather's this engineer, and my grandmother is a holistic, a holistic, she practices holistic health. And, she's 88 years old.
Beautiful. Yeah.
She's still alive. She's still amazing. Like, she's still alive. So she knows, some things. And so that's where my genetics comes from. And so when I was young, I was obviously gifted and talented. I was standing out. I was the lead in the school play. I was singing choir concerts. Solos and choir concerts. Athletically, I was achieving presidential physical fitness awards. I was
Mhm.
at the top at everything. And that was when I was around 6 years old. That's when things really when the intervention in my life began.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because that's when I now looking back, because the story is non-linear, because
Right.
I know things now that I didn't know then. But I was in the gifted and talented education program as a
Mhm.
child, which a lot of people actually right now, this is something that's happening, that a lot of
Yeah.
people are waking up. They're talking about this on TikTok, on Facebook. They're talking about the GATE program. And so I was part of that as a child. And they took me out, they tested me, the hearing, the headphones on the ears, tested all the different audible tones to see if you could hear it. And but they were testing for psychic ability.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was where I obviously was targeted. I was
Mhm.
identified and targeted for having psychic ability, because ever since I remember, I can remember all my dreams.
Yeah.
I can remember all my dreams. When I was 6 years old, I was having memories come back of being in the temples in Egypt, the pyramids in Egypt. Like, I was being initiated in the pyramids of Egypt, because I have a past life memory of actually being initiated in the pyramids, and I can get into that too. But at 6 years old, I was having those memories come back. So the psychic ability had been carried on, through
Yeah.
genetics. And so I was identified, targeted, and that was when I was 6 years old. I started to have, I actually had a memory of a hand coming and taking me out of my window. And that was I found out later that was my MILAB experience, my
Mhm.
probably the first MILAB I remember.
How old were you, Anthony, when that happened?
I was 6 years old at that time,
6. How old are
and
you now?
I'm 41.
41? Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So
So, yeah. So, what happened? Like, I'm sure, there's so many different, uh, on the timeline, so many different things, but go ahead and tell the audience, like, so you knew now what that meant, but where'd it go from after
right,
that hand came? Give us a little breakdown.
yeah, so because I'm living two lives, two parallel
Right.
lives. That's the thing. You live
Yeah.
you live the one life, and then you live the one on the parallel timeline. And because I was getting taken,
Mhm.
by the government, and I was
Yeah.
which Operation Green Star was
Mhm.
a MILAB operation where the government would come in TR series craft and abduct children out of their beds, and and then place a screen memory on the ones, so that you think it's an alien experience when it's really the government.
Yeah.
And so I was able to work through all that later in my life, to understand what was going on. And so, like, at 6 years old, I was getting taken to deep underground military bases.
Hmm.
And I remembered those memories later on in my life, because I remembered being on tables, being
Mhm.
on operating tables, and men standing over me in white lab coats, operating on me. And I remember being in rooms of children.
Mhm.
And when I see Stranger Things, it's a trigger
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
because I remember those rooms of, with the rainbows on the walls, and
Yeah.
being in the rooms with children. And I remember a memory where I was with children around a table, and we were pushing a bowl around telekinetically with the children. We were just pushing it around with our hands. And I had these memories come back, and then I would have wake up in my bed with a bloody nose,
Right.
and
Right.
this was from what I found out later, because I got access to my files, my MILAB files from the ACIO. I was able to fill in.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I'll talk about that.
That's
Yeah.
quite the accomplishment.
Oh yeah, I went the distance. I went
You
all the
you
way down.
definitely did.
I went
Wow.
all the way down the rabbit hole. So,
All right.
I was able to find out that they were implanting, implants into my brain.
Okay.
And I was waking up with bloody noses. I would wake up and a bloody nose would just be there. I would have all over the pillow. And I didn't know anything happened. I was living my life. But I was getting taken down deep in our military bases. And but then there were things that would happen in my actual life, that where I call like the adjustment bureau, where being targeted. I was obviously targeted, and they were influencing me to affect my future, because when you're identified as having psychic ability,
Mhm.
as an intelligence asset, that's, they want to be able to control you and stuff. So that was when I was just a kid playing, in the yard every day. But a family of brothers moved in right next to me, and my mother, because it was just me and my mother. And because my grandfather had moved from
Mhm.
Florida to Washington because he was a professor, and he was teaching people at the university, about the propulsion system. And even David Adair, when I told him, he's like, yeah, he's like, they were so lucky to have him because he was such a great guy.
Mhm.
He was so
Okay.
amazing. Like, so David Adair definitely speaks highly of him. And so he, like, we moved over there. And then this family got moved in right next to us, and they were all brothers training to be pilots. And
Mhm.
two of them were, training to be pilots in the Marines. One of them was a commercial pilot, but they were all brothers. And they have the last name Zender, which is a German. It's a German last name. And so these brothers would come and play with us children, in the which is kind of, now that I look back, I'm like, why were they playing with us? Why did they come and approach us? Because one, now that I know what I'm involved in, anytime someone comes and approaches me, I know that it's them.
Yeah.
So
Right.
um they came and got into my life. My mother ended up marrying one of them, the commercial pilot. Um, but I was in the family, and basically, the two old other, they took me to the airfield every day. I was going to the airfield every day. I was They would let me fly the Cessnas, the Pipers. I
Right.
was I was taking everything off. I was flying. I was landing. They were. I was surrounded by aviation. They were giving me flight simulators as a kid. I was playing all the flight simulators, like up flying all the jets, all the different jet, like World War II simulators, everything. They were teaching me how to do combat in
Yeah.
planes and everything like that. And it was obviously, now I realized that was grooming me,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, but that's how it works. It starts at a young age. Same with me. They had us in the planes at a very young age, and I just thought it was fun. being surrounded by military people and getting access to all these things. And so I love hearing this story because it's a lot of confirmation for myself and for the listeners out there. They do have these programs with these children that they find and put into these intelligence programs and keep them heavily guarded and no privacy whatsoever. So did the mom and dad know about it? Because you said he was a
handler. He was a handler.
He's the handler.
Yeah, he was a handler. So yeah, he knew about, my mother, we're all gifted and talented, like my whole family. And my mom didn't know what was going on, but we found out later. And so I was getting groomed. I was seeing my uncles go through the flight programs. They went through the military. They got officer commissions as officers. I saw them as a kid in their dress blues, and that influenced me. I was just like, oh man, I want to be a Marine. And so and then they were sending me patches of all their different units, that they were going through their training, because they would fly A4s, T2s, F-18s, AV-8B Harriers. One went to the Black Sheep, which was an AV-8B Harrier squadron, and then one went to the Diamondbacks, which was an F-18 squadron.
I'm surprised you didn't get into in the Marines flying a Harrier, because that's their main jet.
Right. It is. But they were.
I love that. It was my favorite jet growing up. I mean, I was going in the Air Force regardless, but the F-15 Eagle was my thing. But when I saw the Harrier live, at the Beale Air Force Base for the first time, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it's the VTOL, like the VTOL, like the X4 is the same. My grandfather.
It came from that. It came from the X4.
It did, and that technology is an offshoot from Operation Paperclip. From the carrying over of the Nazis and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
The VTOL technology and stuff. So, so I was seeing them. They're sending me patches, and then as a child, I thought I was just going to SeaWorld, and I thought I was just going to visit my uncle in El Toro, California, at his I went to the base there, and he took me on the base one day, and he was a captain at the time, and everybody's saluting him, and he took me into this back room, and I go into this back room, and I'm like 12, 13 years old, and I'm looking at all the computers, and everything's just set up and all high tech, and we go there, and we go into this other room, and there's this catwalk that goes out into a dome room. It's just a straight dome, and there's a fuselage suspended in the center of it. And
where was this at, Anthony? What base was this at?
This was in Miramar. Miramar. Yeah, in Miramar. And he was flying for the Diamondbacks there. And I went into that, and it was a simulator. And he basically took me in there, and he got in the back, and I got in the front, and they just had me do the simulator, and I was flying the simulator, and they were like, I heard like, give them rockets, and they were giving me rockets, and I was doing it just like I was doing it in the simulators in the game. And that was one experience though that I found out later from my files. When I got to explain my files and stuff, because I was wondering what was all that was all about, because I'm like, why did they just let a kid go in and fly a simulator and stuff like that? And I found out later I was test piloting the F-35 technology.
Wow.
Yeah, as a child. Cool. And like so there were all there's all this military presence in my life. Like even my uncle got married to this woman who her father was a Pentagon. He was a colonel in the Pentagon, and he did all the black ops in Vietnam. So he was always around. as well.
Yeah.
So, and this is all part of being in the TIRAP program, which,
Yeah. Explain the TIRAP program for the audience.
right. And this is also what I found out later from the ACIO files was about the TIRAP program.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I had awoken in 2012, I figured out that I was a targeted individual. And, because I figured this out. I figured this out because I basically, what happened was I started one night, I was sleeping, and there was a plane just flying around my house, just continuing flying around my house, just circling. And I was like, this is weird. Why is this plane circling above my house? And so I went outside to go, see it. And then I noticed that it was just circling me. It was just circling me. And the lights were not FAA regulation. They were flashing red, green, kind of oscillating. And it wasn't a plane, but it was appearing as one. And so then I went and walked 100 yards down the street, and then it followed me. And then I was just like, okay, this plane is following me. Whatever it is following me. And then after that, I started getting followed around by black helicopters. Yeah, everywhere I went, black helicopters were following me around. And this was part of being a targeted individual and part of being in a MILAB. Because later on, I found out that these craft are able to holographically project an image, and then they are actually a TR series craft. And so these craft are the same craft that take us for the secret space program, and that their secret space program technology, always flying around, especially around super soldiers. And yeah, this is a video of one that I got appearing as a helicopter, but it's not a helicopter, and it's clearly targeting me because it shines its light directly on me. You can see it shining its light directly on me. And then when it flies away, if you notice the light patterns, they are not like a regular helicopter or a plane or whatever. And this is happening around me all of the time wherever I go since 2012. And this is part of being a targeted individual, someone that's speaking out, a whistleblower, someone that's in the TIRAP program, which is the Targeted Individual Research Advanced Project, which is a DARPA and NSA initiative, which they are tasked out to neurologically monitor, people that are psychics and that are in the secret space program.
Have you had any contact with them since 2012? Because they're making it obvious. Are they saying, have they visited you, say, hey, we're just checking in on you, or hey, we want you to leave right now and come with us. You got a lot of work to do with us.
Well, I'm doing it. And that's what I'm saying is because they have the ability they can pop in and then create a chronospherical bubble, take you and pop out, and then return you back like there was only, a blink of a second. And that's part of the 20 and back technology. But so I'm still actively being used in missions. And what is, and yes, I have been contacted. I've been contacted physically and psychically. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. But what happened was in 2012, I started having my total recall come back. Yeah. And I started, after I got out of the Marines, because after high school, because I got influenced, by my uncles. I then decided to join the Marines. I was in high school. I was a outstanding athlete. I won state championships in wrestling, and and then I just decided to go in the Marines. And when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a outstanding career. I was in boot camp. I was the guide, and I was the series honorman, which is the top graduate they graduate in their dress blues, and I graduated Lance Corporal, and and then they sent me out in the fleet, and then I was an infantryman, and I went to Fallujah, Iraq, after actually Operation Phantom Fury was the second invasion of Fallujah. I went there after that to replace the battalion that had been there, and I spent 8 months in Iraq, and had my experience over there, which was definitely uh, an experience in another third world country for sure, which kind of does open up your eyes. Definitely, it
Absolutely.
led me to my awakening, helped me lead me to my awakening. But I served honorably. I got out honorably, and I have disability, through them and stuff. But that was, after getting out of the Marine Corps, that was when my awakening began, because I started to, have my spiritual awakening where I was, remembering all my dreams, having all my memories, my recalls of being on, in the secret space program were all coming back to me. And I was like, I actually went into the VA to talk to somebody about it all,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was, all of a sudden I didn't read anything, and then all of a sudden I started reading every book that could be imagined about everything, especially all the spiritual books and all of that.
Yeah,
um,
I noticed you have a plethora of that. It's a really great accomplishment too. Not a lot of people. I had to study religion because of my job description. I had 2 years of it, and I want to let the audience know that when you go to war and you go to these third world countries, it does change your whole consciousness. And when soldiers get back, a lot of them do have this awakening, like Anthony had, and you have to be awoke first in order to accept the information that was erased from you. So when we say we have total recall, it does usually happen down the road. It doesn't happen like as soon as you get out, or while you're in. It happens, as soon as you become a little bit more conscious with the world and understanding your position and awareness of that. So I just want to say hats off to
yeah,
you for coming forward and
definitely
stuff, because I know how
breaking
difficult
out of
that is.
the breaking out of the brainwashing, you know.
Yeah.
But it that's what you're doing, though. You're breaking out of the brainwashing. And I so I was having all of these memories come back, which I'll get into as well later. But and then I was being followed around by black helicopters, and every type of aircraft you can imagine they can mimic, and it's part of
Yes.
being part of the TIRAP program. And so I was I had questions. I was studying extrasensory perception, because I was understanding consciousness in my dreams, and why doesn't anyone talk about dreams, and just going through the questioning phase of questioning authority, which was really breaking me free. And then so I went into the VA, and I went to go talk to somebody. And then when I went to talk to somebody, there was a psychiatrist there, and he was listening to me, and I was telling him about my experiences, and I was telling him I was getting followed around. I was seeing lights in the sky. I would walk by street lamps, and they would turn off. They would turn on. I was having all of the psychic experiences happen to me. And he was like, okay, like taking
That's
it
what
in.
I'll say. I'm
He
curious
was like,
because they're going to give you a couple of pills and send you home.
right. But what I actually found out later, though, was they replaced him. With
Yeah,
somebody,
good.
because later on, after he's like, okay, come back and see me, on next week. And then so I did, and he's like, call me if anything happens. And and so I was sitting there one night, kind of like in a liminal space, and I started having a telepathic experience, where I was hearing angels around me, basically, and they were
Yeah.
synchronistically communicating that. And so I called him up like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I'm having an experience. I'm hearing voices and stuff like that. And he's like, okay, just calm down. Put in. He gave me a calming down technique, and then he's like, you have a gift, and that's what he said. Is like he acknowledged the gift, and
Wow, that's fantastic.
right. And so I went to go see him next week, and then before I went to go even see him, there was a man waiting there for me in the waiting room, and he was talking to some guy, and but when I came in, he got up and he came over to me. He's like, to introduce himself. He's like, oh hey, he's like, I'm Commander such and such from the Navy. I've been on all these subs and aircraft carriers and all this different Navy stuff. And he's like, he's like, what are you up to? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just, studying this and that. And cause I was going through my awakening phase, to being a super soldier. I wasn't quite sure what it was all about yet, but I was awakening. And then they sent in somebody to, see where I was at. And so, we went and talked and stuff. And then he starts mentioning really highly classified level, top secret, like things like he's like, he's like, if we're, you know how easy it'd be to get a nuclear bomb in the United States? He's like, all you'd have to do is just row it to shore, and then you'd have it in the United States. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, and if it was up to me, I would assassinate the president of Iran. And he was saying these things, but these are like MK Ultra trigger
Yes.
words, because that's what they were doing to me when I was a kid, was putting me through MK Ultra and disassociation and stuff, where they can program alters and stuff. Because when you're sent on a mission, they can call up an alter and then program that alter with whatever skills, whatever thing, whatever is needed, through MK Ultra. And like Jason Bourne style, like this is Jason Bourne. Dollhouse, there's another show called Dollhouse, where these are all soft disclosure shows, where I identify all the soft disclosure shows, but that's part of it is the MK Ultra. So he was mentioning these highly top secret classified things, trying to see what I remember, because that's the nature of being a super soldier, is you're on these missions and stuff. But I didn't remember anything yet quite. And then he found out that I was writing a book, because I was writing my book.
Oh,
I was
right. Yes. Yeah.
I was writing my book, The Son of the Morning, Son of the Morning. And he's like, yeah, we should go talk about your book. We should meet and talk about your book sometime. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And he gave me his card. But the thing is, I never followed through, to meet up with him. And then he ended up showing up at a church, that I went to at a time. Yeah,
Wow. That's
so that's how,
spooky.
right. That's how that they're watching you, is because
Yeah.
I was going in. He was actually talking to somebody I knew from high school, like that was a wrestler from high school. So he knew that I knew him, and so he was talking to him before I even came in. And so we were there at the service and stuff, and then afterwards he asked, he's like, hey, do you need a ride home? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So we got in his car, and I'm like, so yeah, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a berry farmer, is what he said. And
A berry farmer?
yeah, the berry farm. He said he was a berry farmer, but so
Yeah.
and then as he's taking me home, we're talking about military stuff, and he's sitting there, and he's about to let me out, and then he's like, though, what's really, what I've always been interested in is aliens. and he drops that's what he bombed. He dropped the
Oh,
bomb there.
he's dropping a hook for you.
Yeah, he was dropping it, and then so I was like, boom, and then so that's where the studying came, and then I found out about being a super soldier, and then I found out about the secret space program. Found out about James Rink and Super Soldier Talk. That was rest in peace, James. That was one of the nexus points of my awakening. To finding out information. And at that time, as I was just living my regular life, which it wasn't so regular at all, because I was having, constant visitations by, black op men in black, people outside my house taking pictures of my house, because, what I was practicing was, it's called, it's illumination. It's the ancient and secret religion of the enlightened ones. And that's what I was remembering from past lives, because I've been part of a lineage that I can remember since the time of Atlantis, because I have my memories. I remember being in Atlantis. I remember the waves coming and taking it out, and that was part of my recall too. Was when I was awakening to this, I was reading books like Awakening to Zero Point by Greg Braden, one of the original guys. And that was where I found the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. And that was a wake up for me. That really brought back memories for me. And, then I was starting to be visited, by light beings. And and then finding out that that they're actually me, because in one of my past lives, I went through the initiations in Egypt through the pyramids, and many others have gone through the initiations, Moses, Jesus, Apollonius of Tyana, other great, people in the past have been through the initiations. And
Right.
I remember going through them, and I remember being in a cold, dark chamber, in the pyramid, and I literally started levitating and turned into light and lit up my Merkaba body in that experience. And then I had an experience where I saw a ball of light in the sky, and then it was just sitting there, and then it started moving all around the sky, everywhere around the sky, and then started moving up and down, sideways, diagonal, and then it even moved right next to me. And then I was like, we're telepathic. When I say go left, it's gonna go left. And then before I even had the thought, it went left, and then it just was going around.
Look
And
at that.
yeah, this is it right here.
Yes, yes, fucking yes. This is some proof right here of some things going on right now.
And then
Because
so
I'm taping
what I
this
was able to
without
find out
anyone.
later in life was that, because everybody wants to know what's dreaming the dream. It's you. You're a ball of light. That's me from beyond the veil. That's my soul. That's my light. And so that's what I was able to come to the understanding of, to explain that.
Telepathic. Okay, go left. Oh, hey, look at before I even said go left. Before I even said go left, it just went left. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look at that.
Yeah, so we're all balls of light.
Yeah, that's a great video, Anthony, and I'm glad you brought up that we are the light. And I've yet to read all your information about that, but I will, because we both think the same way when it comes to that. A lot of the expeditions we do and contact work, a lot of these times the light that you see in front of you is that reflection of you bleeding in and out from another dimension. and it's very rarely talked about because everyone wants to say it's them, it's an ET, it's a UFO, but it's actually the reflection of your energy.
That is what explains it. And they know, the CIA knows about this. All the elites know about this. They know about this information, and that's why this is disclosure. And because really, like, disclosure isn't so much about UFOs and ETs. It's about the nature of reality, and and consciousness, and
Right, that's the disclosure. That's what they're so scared about. They don't care about the other stuff. Exactly what you just said there is what they're worried about.
And that's where, because in my awakening too, because once what I was studying was obviously, because knowledge is power, and illumination is what I was getting to, because I was studying all the secret societies and mystery schools, and but I was remembering it, is what I was doing. And in all my books I go through the degrees of masonry, which are allegory and symbol to make good people better, is what it is, and its virtues and morals. And then I was going through the Rosicrucian monographs, which are all about extrasensory perception and Saint Germain and all the immaterial and all of that. But I was doing that to get to the actual true Illuminati, the true enlightened ones, which are the Pythagorean Illuminati. Because what is part of the Armageddon conspiracy is that the elite have taken the name Illuminati, which are the enlightened ones, and they've made it and made it bad and demonized it, so that people wouldn't find their way to illumination and to the Illuminati, who are the actual carriers of the Grail religion of illumination, which actually does explain the nature of reality, the purpose of existence, the meaning of life. It actually unifies mind and matter as well, because that, and with the grand unified theory of everything, because they actually have figured out the grand unified theory of everything, which is what our scientists and stuff are still trying to do, but they will never do it. They will never get to it because they are not taking into consideration the immaterial, the dimensionless, the world outside of time and space, which is the world of mind. Because reality is made up, it's a dual aspect monism, which is res cognitem, which is the thinking substance, and then res extensa, which is the extended substance. And this is what Rene Descartes came up with. He was able to split them because he knew that mind wasn't the same thing as matter, because they're not. Mind is immaterial. It's dimensionless. It's actually a singularity. Like your mind is a singularity. It's a black hole, and that is actually why science and stuff, they don't go, and right when they get to a black hole, they all everything goes out the window. Physics and stuff goes out the window, because they don't go to the levels of explaining it by having imaginary numbers, which is the other side of what they call ontological mathematics, which means that the universe isn't material. It's made up of literal mathematics. Like, that's going to be part of the disclosure too, because a lot of people think that this is material, but it's not. It's mathematics. It's and that's what the secret that the enlightened ones keep, and that they're getting to teach people. Because once people understand that, they will understand that mind is primary to matter, instead of matter being primary to mind. Because that the science says, atheism says, scientific materialistic empiricism says that consciousness is a product of the brain, but it's actually the other way around.
Right. Very well put, Anthony. I love your work. I love your explanation. Very intelligently put.
Yeah, and the great work, this is the great work, because this is what my healing came through, was taking on the great work when I found out about this, being part of all this. And the great work is basically becoming the living bridge between alpha and omega. and alpha is the physical world. It's the world inside of time and space. It's the world. It's the dimensional world. It's the world we see. Omega world is the world outside of time and space. It's the dream world. It's the unconscious, and this explains things by using Occam's razor, which is the easiest explanation is the explanation, instead of these elaborate theories that scientists are coming up with that are using all these elaborate things. Like, they're never gonna get it because they're breaking Occam's razor. And the Illuminati even said this. They'll never get to it. They'll never get to it because they're not accepting mind as primary. And that's the key. And that's what I learned through the great work, and through all the dream navigation that I do, which is called onironautics. Onironautics is what the Greeks knew, like the ancient Greek philosophers. They were onironauts, and that's what they called the dream world back then, because they were dream navigators. And so that's the next level of consciousness as well that we're going to be getting into, is being able to navigate our dreams, because your dreams aren't just random like things. They are literal. Like it's like I meet teachers in my dreams. The dead, they speak in your dreams, and that's what's happening. Is the realms are these two realms are merging. That's what's happening as we're going into the next context of existence.
Very well put. Anthony, I have my own personal question. Where at what time, we both studied religion our whole lives, where at what time did the programming step in to discombobulate the original teachings of all the above? Like 666, that's not, that's a healthy thing. It's not a Satan thing. But where did all this kind of go off kilter? And who was responsible for that? Was it draconian? Was it what? Who
Definitely
can you point a finger out?
The demiurge and the archons, which definitely have the draconian influence behind them. 561 BC is where they say that the enlightened ones came in to change the timeline, and they were known as Fosters, and the Watchers. They were the ones that were the illuminators, and they were able to pass on their knowledge to ancient holy men that were able to pass it on to King Solomon. And King Solomon was actually the first unofficial Grand Master of the Illuminati. But then it was moved from where King Solomon was to Greece, where then Pythagoras became the first official Grand Master. And there are other Grand Masters as well, like Heraclitus, Parmenides. They're philosophers. They're not, that's what I'm saying, is the real history of the Illuminati is so much more richer than what people think it is, and that they did that on purpose. One of a woman, Hypatia of Alexandria, was one of the Grand Masters, and they've been preserving illumination throughout the years, and they even made some of the secret societies, but those secret societies got corrupted. And me personally, I actually have memories of being a Knight Templar, because I have it maintains this lineage. This lineage, it's maintained, and I'm just having all these memories because I remember being in a castle, and it just like in the medieval days, and I just remember flaming rocks just coming and just smashing through the castle. And we were evacuating. Because it was like the Inquisition, and they were coming to take us out and kill us, because that's what they were always doing. Like the Gnostics, they were always burning us at the stake and trying to take us out, because we knew about the divine spark and illumination, but we also knew about reincarnation, and they were trying to stamp that out as well too.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic that you got to a level of consciousness to access your crystalline DNA hard drive where you can see where you actually came from. And everyone has this ability. It's just we're being suppressed by it, and you're not able to, you actually have to believe in what we're talking about to understand that that is truthful. And this access point is kind of beyond the Akashic record because it has to do with the universe that's enfolded within you already. You just need to open that up and ascertain that. So you put it really eloquently. That's the best way I've ever heard anyone talk about that. And thanks for giving those dates. 500 BC, and where the things were getting shady because of the new religions that were trying to be formed, like you said, but they were the bad guys. They were trying to manipulate that. And it's cool that you saw yourself as a Knights Templar too, and recalled all that, and actually had full recall being invaded. And a lot of psychics and people gifted like yourself, I've heard, I've interviewed thousands of people, have very similar situations where they're starting to recall, things that are just undeniable that no one would. It's not even printed in text. Some of this stuff. And what is your lineage? Like, what's your lineage background?
Got Polish and got some, I believe some African American. I don't know where that comes from, but and some sort of Indian. I don't really know my lineage that well. Arcturian, I definitely though that's soul lineage because I have stories about that, about how I actually got contacted. Like when I began to have my awakening, I literally had the Arcturians come to me in a dream and give me the red pill.
That's fantastic. That's great.
They gave me the red pill, and that was when I was beginning my hero's journey, which is the path to the Grail. And it is, you start in the world of common day, and the Matrix is actually the best movie to relate to as the hero's journey, because you start in the world of common day, and then you get the call to adventure. You get, there's something more than this, and then you refuse the call or you accept the call, and that's the blue or red pill. And then I obviously accepted the call and got into the extraordinary world. In the extraordinary world, you're obviously in a world where this is not the ordinary world anymore. And that is where you meet with the mentor, and the mentor for me, like, has been, I've had a lot of different mentors, but Ramtha, the Enlightened One, has been a mentor for me because that was where I learned about the great work. And so like Ramtha actually has a school up in Yelm, and that was actually where part of my life took me. And my grandmother had actually been part of the school, and she actually went to the school there and learned remote viewing, learn the manifestation techniques there, because they what they teach people, how to focus on an image, and then they'll put them on a football size field, and then they'll blindfold them, and then literally they'll just focus on that image, and then they'll be led to it, and on a football size field blindfolded. And that's one of the teachings that they teach there. Yeah. And obviously the CIA, they check it out, see what they're doing. And then so I learned about this teaching. And then when I was awakening, and this was part of the great work, this was part of turning mind into matter, because you're focusing your mind and you're imagining something, and then you're seeing it actually manifest in your reality. And when I started practicing this practice, I did it every single day. I still do it. I wake up every day, every morning. I will practice. I will focus. I will create that sacred space, and I'll do it. And I was doing this over the years. And what happened to me was I was living in in just a place in the middle of the mountains, and I would do this every single day. And what the image was that I wanted it to represent was my future, because I wanted my future. That's what I want. I want my future, because I know what my future is. My future is, technology, just health, everything good that's being held back from us. So
What are your future goals with all this? That I mean, you're very diverse from all the stuff I've read and watched, and we all have missions. And
definitely
what
to be a teacher,
your
of all this,
future?
not because I mean, to be a teacher of men, to be a teacher of all the people of the world,
Yeah,
with illumination,
yeah,
which
that's
will
beautiful.
connect
Mhm.
you with your divine spark. It connects
Yeah,
you with your higher self, with yourself on the other side, to your divinity, which
yeah,
that's what it does, which they don't want you to know. They want you to think that
yeah.
you're a wretched creature. They want you to think that you're just flesh and blood, but you're
Right.
not. You're a ball of light. That actually, it's actually mathematical, the way that you operate this body. It's actually done like a drone. You exist in another domain, but you're operating this body like a drone. And
No,
that,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely, integrous. I mean, here you are with the knowledge. I'm the same way. It's all about teaching, getting the knowledge out there to really, have an influence on the conscious community. Because, like you said, no one, they're not teaching this. No one knows this stuff. We're trying to get an academy here put together in the next couple of years called the Quantum Sciences Health Academy, where you would definitely have a position there if you wanted to. And
okay,
it's a
I'll do it. Let's do it. Like
because the education is just so critical. When you talk right now, and this reaches hundreds of thousands of people this week, they have to hear this, and no one's really talking about it in a way that you're talking about intelligently, and having the history to back it up really is impressive. Because some people I get involved with a lot of regurgers. I call them regurgitation people. They'll read a bunch of my stuff or watch all my cosmic disclosure, then they're expert and they're out there teaching this on stage and for the first time. It's not, it's about the experience that you have, that you're relaying to the community through your voice, the tonality, that really is an activator too. And I can see your light and I can see your tonality, and it's very impressive. The pictures that were just showing up, by the way, I don't know if my camera threw them up there, but we got to talk about it just for a second before we go back. UFC fighter here, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. I mean, look at this guy.
yeah,
Look at
yeah.
that. Is this after the military or when?
That was after the military. Yeah, yeah. That was boxing. I did boxing and MMA. Definitely carrying on the warrior
The warrior.
aspect.
Yeah.
And really worked on like my the focus. I did it. I used it there too. Focusing my mind. I would meditate before fights and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
know they're not doing that, but that's really the difference, was because that I found was I mean, how focused your mind is, because once I had a experience where I did this every day, and then I noticed around me, I noticed the environment changing, like in accordance to my mind and what I was thinking. And right next door to me, a antique shop opened up called the Time Machine. It was
You manifested that one too.
it was called the Time Machine. And
That's
I was like,
hilarious.
okay, that's pretty cool, that Time Machine. And so I kept doing it. And then right below me, a store opened up, and it was an MMA fighting store. An
Wow.
MMA, and the guy ended up sponsoring me and helping me out in my fighting and stuff. And then I kept doing it, and then another store opened up right next to that one, and then she ended up being a holistic healer and masseuse, that was able, like, just so it's just like bam, bam, bam.
The universe
And
is sending you all these people to facilitate your training, to open you up more with martial arts, with the nuance and new age stuff. I see it just unfolding. It's a beautiful story. I mean, you're definitely assisted by the Arcturans, and I see a lot of others, and I'll talk to you privately about in you. But man, it's just a fantastic description of how do you see how you were led? Is it obvious to you?
oh yeah, I know, I get it. I get it. I
Yeah.
definitely get it now. But it's but now, yeah, it's non-linear, but you see everything. you see what you didn't see now,
Right.
and so
Every day is a new day when you wake up and put two and two together.
yeah, I know I've been getting prepared. I know what I've been getting prepared for. I know it is to be a teacher, and that's why I'm so happy to be able to speak about this, because it is really relieving to be able to speak about this, because this is like the secret, that's why it's not spoken about. So it's like, let's speak about it. Let's start getting it in the mass conscious, because even Rompus said only a handful of people can change the consciousness of a world. And that's what we did. That's part of the mission we came here to do, is to change the consciousness of the world. And so that's what we're doing. And yeah, it's happening because the consciousness of the world is changing, and that's what actually defeats the elite. That's what actually defeats them, is because they know that because if they control our minds, they're able to control our reality. And so that's why they have all the mass surveillance, all this, all the different mind control, all that stuff is to control our minds to create their reality. So once we, get the awakened ones, once we get the knowledge is power, we start creating different stuff collectively. We can literally create whatever reality we want, like they
so
did.
You were taught there that if you have just a small group of collective, let's say they're saying there's 8.5 billion people on the planet. That's not true, but you're just saying that how many of a group cosmically here do we need on board? What did they say? I'm just curious. What did they teach?
What they said was the Pythagorean Illuminati actually, with a study from Stanford, did a study on a tribe, and it took 10% of the tribe to know something different to change the tribe's paradigm.
Wow.
So what we believe we've got to 10% now.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Rupert Sheldrake with the 10th monkey effect with the islands is a great depiction of this.
100th monkey, we're there, and now that it's happening, it's going to be like a quantum leap. Time's different and stuff as we get closer back to the singularity, because we came from the singularity. Because the Big Bang. Okay, another secret here is science says the Big Bang just happened magically, just rabbit out of the hat magically. It just appeared, matter appeared, but it actually came from something. It came from the singularity, which is mind, where distance is equal to zero. It's a black hole, and it comes from the singularity, and then it goes back to the singularity again. And that's the secret of the Big Bang. And it explains black holes, because black holes are actually portals to Omega world. And in your mind, that's why when you go to sleep and you go unconscious, you're a portal to Omega world. You're a direct portal. So we're all portals to Omega, to the other side.
You are the portal. That's what we tell everyone.
You are the living bridge. And that's what part of my work, all of my books, is seeking to understand, and to really get that you're not just physical. Even though I'm talking physically to you right now, I'm not my body. Like I am. There's another domain, which is alpha and omega. It's a dual aspect monism. Rene Descartes actually made up this thing: res cognita, res extensa. The problem has been they've been trying to unite quantum theory with general relativity. They haven't been able to do that, but the Illuminati did. The Illumination actually unifies quantum theory and general relativity together, which is mind and matter. So they've done what science. So atheists, it actually proves the inevitability of God is what it shows, because it's mathematical, and for atheists and stuff, it proves that. But for like religious people, like you can't go. If you're trying to explain God to a scientist, you can't go with a holy book. You know what I'm saying? You have to do it in mathematics, and that's actually what the universe is made of. So to become an actual illuminatist, all you have to do is accept the universe is mathematical, and then seek to understand that.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Very well put again. Yeah, that. We're gonna have to do 10 episodes on you because there's just too many things in my notes here that we can branch off on. But I love it, want more of it. I'm sure everyone's going to respond to this as well. But let's talk about, we
I
walked
go
all the way
over
up.
it's like super soldier missions, like things that I went through
Mhm.
that with that.
Yeah. Like tell us some of the super soldier stuff that you recall and what it was like, and
Right.
which is, I know you've been on so many different ones. Not only on
Yeah,
TIRAP but on
over
other
four
places.
over 4,000 over 4,000 I heard from my files.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a
So
lot.
because they can just do MK Ultra, and then they have the
Mhm.
trip chair, so they can just
Yeah.
erase your memory and then
Yeah.
reprogram you and then put you back and then just do it over and over again. They showed actually that on Bloodshot, the technology that they use on the
Mhm.
movie Bloodshot. They showed that technology. So waking up from being out of the Marine Corps, having the memories come back, I started to have, the memories come back, and I remembered a memory where I was being teleported away from Earth.
Mhm.
I definitely remember seeing Earth just shooting away from me, and then I started having memories come back of being on the moon, like of being
Mhm.
on what I found out to be Lunar Operations Command, where I was in build like in classrooms full of children, like
Yeah.
just teenage children. We were in classrooms, and I remember
Keep talking, Anthony. I can hear you.
okay, I remember a display being there, and the display definitely had Hitler on it, and Hitler was talking and teaching about Atlantis. And so that right there was definitely a memory of me being taught about all the secret history of Atlantis, which explains everything that I was going through when I was having my recall about learning about the myth of Atlantis that isn't a myth. I was actually getting taught the history by Hitler. So that was one memory that came back, and then I had another one come back where I was in a like a hangar bay, and there I was with the classroom full of children again, and then there was a woman in a uniform, and she was giving a lecture on a Hanabu 3 craft. It was if anyone knows, like it's the Hanabu 3 was definitely one of the Nazis the craft that they had, and I remember getting instruction on it.
So that was one of the first reproduction vehicles they acquired or that they were making, right?
Yep, right.
Okay. And why did Hitler? Why was he so? I know he was obsessed with Atlantis. Was he also reincarnated from there too?
Oh yeah, I mean that all the he was a
Yeah.
Gnostic. He was a Gnostic. He was part of the lineage,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so he was awakened. He was awakened, but he just went a little psycho. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like
A little too much meth on the weekends. Yeah.
right. But yeah, that was where the memories started coming back. So I was having these memories of being on like moon bases and being taught Atlantis history and Hanabu 3 crafts, and then I started having memories come back where I was like on just different planets, like where I was on a planet like it was a
Oh, there he is.
glass. Yeah, that was it. That was it.
That's
I was literally in a hangar bay, and there was a woman in front giving a class, a teaching on full of children, a classroom, like on that. So yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like my memory is fragmented, but I have enough memory for total recall. Like I can't remember
yeah.
everything, but
Sure.
I can remember enough to put things together, to know like where I was, and then having access to the ACIO files is
Yeah.
also a help too. So
Yeah. As you get older, Anthony, from my experience, you start remembering a lot more.
Oh shit.
So be prepared because it all comes full circle, and take notes in your diaries and stuff like that. So if you ever do forget again, you can read what you wrote 10 years ago and go, oh my gosh, why can't I remember that anymore?
Yeah,
Because
taking
you're
it,
going to get
taking it
new, you're
down.
going to get new and new more facts in from your lineage, from your downloads of your structure. And you get so much compiled in there that you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. But now that happened because of this. So yeah, I'm glad I could make you laugh because you're in for a wild journey.
Yeah. I know. I still got the light in me. I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy. It is
Yeah, it's
heavy,
heavy.
but I mean, I've been able to work with it and handle it well. I know a lot of people that have been part of this can't and aren't. And you know, we get hit by directed energy weapons all the time. Like I'm getting hit with directed energy weapons, and I'll just be sitting here, and then all of a sudden, I'll just be boom, and then I'll just get hit with a directed
Yeah.
energy weapon, which I found out they do to you when you're having memory recall. Like when it's coming back too fast, they'll hit with the directed energy weapon.
Yeah,
And
or if you're working on a big project, or if you're about to publish a book, or about to do a podcast with Emery Smith,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, they'll
it
cut your
really does. They'll
yeah,
cut. They hit you. We've had it happen all the time.
they'll break into your house. You know what I'm saying? They'll break into your house. They'll use V2K against you. You know, which is you know, people are going through this, not understanding what they're going through, but they've been used as assets in the secret space program because they're using this technology for like Project Looking Glass. You know, they're hooking up
Right.
assets, psychic assets to AI to you know, for Project Looking Glass.
Yeah,
And
sure. Like, what's the possibility that Anthony and Emery might talk about something that we don't want out there yet? So
right,
they're looking into billions of timelines,
they
and they're
control.
trying to control billions of people.
They know where you go. They know what you're gonna do. They know where you're gonna go. Like everything. Like I'll be walking and there'll be a helicopter just fly right in front of my path because it knew where I was going because they know what I'm doing, where I'm going.
Anthony, you meant an alleged
Yeah,
helicopter.
right. I'll say right. Thank you, Emery. Thank you
I'm
for
just, I'm trying to
because
lighten this.
I
I'm
mean
trying to lighten it up
I'm
because it's serious right
I'm going to
now.
tell you the truth here. If the cloaking technology turned off and it came uncloaked, it'd be a giant black triangle sitting there, and people would go crazy. You
Yeah.
know,
And we've
so
had the cloaking since the A4s and in the 70s. You know, they were already experimenting with it. They're very
it,
successful. You know, we
it,
just met with
it's
one of the scientists who helped develop it.
I was able to understand because all this information too is coming from the ACIO files, which are like
Wow.
I met like when I was finding out this information, I you know, found Super Soldier Talk, and then off of Super Soldier Talk, I met James Rink, and then I was able to meet Peter the Insider, who is the 12th Division Director of the ACIO, and this was happened back in 2016, and
Wow.
yeah, when I was able to meet with him, that was the apex that I was trying to get to.
How many
With
files are we talking about?
he knows everyone's files. Like if,
Were you able to get, you said you got a copy of these and you've been utilizing them, or
no,
no?
it's a special database that he
Right.
actually only has the access to, and if you can talk to him and he'll be able to read off your files, but he's done multiple files for, you know, over like 50 60 people, and he's
Mm-hmm.
posted them up online. You know, you can go to disclosures.
Oh, he
um,
posted them?
Oh yeah, they're all posted. There it's disclosures. The TV show or the what Jessica Ariel Morocco does the show Disclosures, where they'll talk about everybody's files that they're getting access to, including
Oh,
mine.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow. I'm going to get a copy of that and we'll post it.
they've been
Yeah.
doing it for a while now, and you cannot refute the information because it's so extensive
Yeah.
and so right on that
Well,
it's
right when you told me that Peter would not give you the files, and that he would tell you the files is 100% true, because anything that's that top classified, and we have a lot of insiders in there, it's the same thing. I'll call you, I'll read it to you, but I'm not sending you anything.
Yeah.
And this recently just happened 2 weeks ago.
He doesn't show his face. He can't show his
No.
face. It's operational security. So for all these years he's been helping with the disclosure with MILABs and people to get to know more, which he's obviously helped me tremendously.
Right.
And so I was able to find him and then start to get information on my files and what was going on, who was behind it, like what I was being used for, what kind of technology was being used, like soul transfer technology, cloning technology, trip chair technology. They do consciousness transfer, and
tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So I start having memories come back, and they have the soul capture consciousness transfer ability where they can literally capture your soul, and then they can put your consciousness in another body, and not even it can be an alien body too, because I've had memories where I've been in other bodies too. So
that's part of the program.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're sent in as these quadruple agents,
you're infiltrated. I've been a reptilian before, and they believe me. They look intimidating. They are they're the best movie I could get is Jupiter Ascending was a good one that had a reptilian on it. But so where was I even at?
Yeah, remind me to tell you in private about Jupiter Ascending. I'll tell you some fun stuff.
Yeah.
The reptilians are very intimidating, and they do have some vibration about them and a scent that you'll never forget.
Yeah. Anyways, it was it definitely is. I was being used for was I was being put in clone bodies, and then they would send me out on a mission, and I would start to have these mission memories come back where I would be doing different things, like I would be doing sabotage missions, I would be doing infiltration missions, I'd be stealing things, I would be doing evacuation missions, I would be doing assassination missions, and like just for one mission, I was
these are one-way missions, Anthony. You might want to tell them.
Most of them are.
Yeah, tell the audience, because I know about this, and
yeah.
So when you're put in, go ahead.
Most of them are definitely one-way missions, because I remember being killed like a million times, over and over again, and I could go through some. I don't know. I'll talk about the time travel mission. The Nazi time travel mission, but one mission I remember was being in a high-rise skyscraper, and I was running away. I was caught. I was always being caught. Like, you're always being caught, and you're running.
That's part of the mission. That's part of the mission.
You're trying not to get caught, but it's like I was running away, and I was being chased by these agents, and I was able to get in this elevator, and I got up against the side of the elevator, and they just started just riddling bullets and shooting this elevator up. And I remember the bullets just shooting through the elevator, just tearing it up. And then they cut the elevator cords, and then the whole elevator just slammed down like 100 stories. And I remember hitting the ground, but I was still alive. I was still alive because I was shifted. That's what Peter says, is I was shifted. I was in super soldier mode, and I got out, and then I remember there being agents all around me. And then what I started to do was I just started running, and I started running up the walls. And two guns came out of my hand. Through
Anthony, what form were you in? I'm sorry for the audience. What form were you human, or were you?
I don't remember. I was probably
Okay.
not. And well, I was human. I was in a human. I was in a human place with humans around.
Okay.
So I was probably human. But I remember the guns coming out of my hand. Nanotechnology, and I just remember just like simultaneously targeting all these people using gun kata and just fighting everybody. And then I would have waken up from my dream. And then well, that wasn't a dream. It was a recall. And these recalls would just come back, and they were recalls that were being erased from my memory, from all the memory wipes, which I actually remember actually going up to the trip chair too. One time I remember a memory where I was in a white like scientific room with people with lab coats on the outside, and a glass. It was all glass, and I remember the trip chair being there, and I remember going and sitting down in the trip chair, and I remember a man standing over me, who I later learned his name is Gabriel Kruger, and he was like, "What you're doing is saving humanity," and then I obviously got wiped and time traveled, and so that was happened. That's happened so many times to me, and like just all these memories coming back, where I'll be like, I was in a space station one time, and the space station was just being attacked, like it was going down, and everybody was running around. And I remember this person came up to me, and they hit this door, and the doorway opened, and like this metal slide just slides out like underneath the doorway. And I remember just sliding down the metal slide, and I just slide down the slide, and I'm like, pop, and I popped into this bubble cockpit canopy, and I remember I could see 360 around me, and I remember just getting shot out into space. Like, it was so crazy because I remember it, and I was in space, and it was so vast, and just so, I was so vast. And I remember just the space station, there's just this huge battle going on, and there were just ships just crashing into the space station. And I remember just like taking the ship, and just I was doing strafe runs on these different ships. And then I remember being shot. At, and that's when I woke up in my bed, and then I remember just this pain in my side, and like I actually felt the pain, and that was another memory too. But these are all recalls, that are just like, they're intense.
Yeah. What do you do to stay grounded? A lot of SSP guys that I've interviewed, and myself, I mean, I understand why you do martial arts, for sure.
That's
I
it.
mean, it's just assist you. I've raised martial arts my whole life, so I get that. I think it's a really important thing for the viewers to know that, when you're taking on this much recall and looking at where you're at in the 3D today with gas cars and, no med beds that can cure anything. And, how are you dealing with that psychologically while you're here? Because you have it all together, and you really eloquently put everything. And I can definitely concur with your stories that they're true, because of what you're describing. So
Patience.
how are you dealing?
Patience.
It is patience.
It really is patience, though, because ever since I started the great work, I did start meditation and learn, a lot of patience through meditation. But it is patience, because I know about all this stuff, and then you go through the monotonous drudgery of every day, knowing that all this technology exists, and you just want it out for everybody, and it gets frustrating sometimes, But I always have, and I've always said, like, throughout all the years that I've been doing this, is just to keep the finish line, like to keep the end in sight, and to know, what this is all coming down to, and to keep that in sight, which is our future, which is a Star Trek future, and that's the truth. That's what it is, and that does actually involve a new paradigm, you know, which is a new economic paradigm, a new political paradigm, a new religious paradigm. Like that actually is what a new world order is. Like if you ask, like that's part of the Armageddon conspiracy.
Yeah.
Is they did this? They flipped it around because
Yeah.
they know too that there is one thing stronger than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. And that was Victor Hugo. But like if you tainted New World Order and you tainted the Illuminati, people would in their mind they would never be able to create like they would never be able to know who they really are and what they really represented, because if people knew, things would change like an instant, because we would be like, why don't we have you know, illumination to replace
Right.
Abrahamic faiths? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Why don't we have meritocracy to replace democracy and monarchy? You know, and why don't we have social national capitalism to replace free market Zionist capitalism? You know, and that's actually through what is called dialectical evolution, which is the evolution of the inevitable evolution of the universe. This
Yeah.
paradigm is what our next context of existence is going to be.
I kind of see it already happening and starting. Where do you think, or, you know, I'm not a Edgar Casey or David Wilcock, but people want to know, like, when is this going to take place?
Well, the religion's got to fall, and the government's got to fall, and it's got to fall in
And
order for.
disclosure will help with that, you think?
Yeah, definitely. For the phoenix to rise from the ashes, because that's going to be where everything falls.
Mhm.
There's going to be two pathways. Either we go into, you know, anarchy and all that stuff, or we go into the phoenix rising, you know, from the ashes and into Star Trek future. And I'm sure that we're going to choose that when the time comes. So that's where I believe we're at. We're in the phase where the, you know, religious and political and economic paradigms
Yeah.
are being
Yeah.
recognized, and then they're falling right now, and it's only speeding up.
Yeah. They're having big meetings right now. All the religious leaders,
The court,
the
you know,
political.
the legal, you know, the law. People are rising up against the law. You know, they're covering up all the cameras and stuff all over the world. You know, in Britain, they're rising up. You know,
Mhm.
against the monarchy that, you know, in America, you know, obviously they're starting to rise up too. But here it's been the most mind controlled and stuff. So it's going to take a little
Yeah.
longer, but we're getting there.
No, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Yeah, the mind control, if you want to touch a little bit about how they're controlling the masses, you know, I've been debriefed this past year, of course. They're now able to put the frequencies in FM radios. So it's not just Wi-Fi or 5G, 6G. It's not just the satellites that are beaming down, you know, these energies. It's also in foods and, of course, inoculations. What's your thoughts on that?
No, they're putting it's in everything. You know what I'm saying? They're doing everything to keep our frequency down, to keep our thoughts down, because thought is everything. Your thinking is reality.
Manifestation, it's real. Thought
Your
is, you
thought.
know,
So if they control, they know that. So, but that's why it's important to create thoughts and to hold them, and what we learned in the schools. But there's a movie called Tomorrowland, you know, which is actually they actually show
Mhm.
looking glass technology in that,
Yeah.
and I like to refer to that though because in that movie, you know, it was all doom and gloom. Everybody was thinking doom and gloom, so that's what was being created. That's what they were seeing in the future, except for the one girl. She didn't see that. She saw, you know, the bright. She saw a
The
bright.
beautiful side.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so that was what was able to happen and create. So if we can do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we are going to do it, we'll be able to create that reality. And
Mhm.
that's actually what they can't stop. That's what they can't
Right.
stop. What they looked at Project Looking Glass. They can't stop the universe from evolving, because it is what the universe is, which I learned from the Pythagorean Illuminati, is a self-solving mathematical equation. and it's like a Rubik's cube made up of individual Rubik's cubes, which are us, our minds and souls, and it solves itself. And so it's solving itself right now, and they can't stop the optimal trajectory and maximum actualization and potential from being reached.
And who do you think is in control as of today, as far as interdimensional, dimensional, religious, extraterrestrial, reptilian races? What's your take on? Because it's always been so many layers, and I've seen this in your books and stuff. There's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, and I kind of teach that there's a lot of layers behind it. But
I definitely know they're not in control anymore. Because there've been tribunals going on. I've actually sat in a tribunal where I was in a council meeting, and I was there in a tribunal, and I was like, someone is in trouble. I was like, someone is in trouble right now, and I actually can attest to that too, because I had a memory come back, which I got confirmed of a black op mission going on we captured Klaus Schwab, and because they're all getting rounded up, whether it's human, whether it's reptilian, whether it's Nordic, evil, they're all getting rounded up, and disclosure is actually happening the way it should be. The plan is getting rolled out, the way it should be. And the mission that I had capturing Klaus Schwab was actually I had a mission around the World Economic Forum. I started remembering memories of being in a ski resort, like an advanced, like in a ski resort, and I kept having missions of being in ballrooms and ski resorts and stuff. And then I had a mission of, or a memory of sneaking in a forest one night with the team. And we went up to it was like a beautiful mansion, this highly advanced, beautiful mansion. And we were sneaking with the team, and we snuck into the mansion. And I remember being in there, and then like we were there, but they didn't know that we were there. Well, they didn't know we were there. And I remember going around, and I remember sneaking into a room, and there being a room and someone laying there. And then my memory went. I woke up, and then the next day I read that a Delta Force team had captured Klaus Schwab from his mansion in Davos, and that was yeah. And so I put that together. And I was like, I was there. And then I got it confirmed by Peter. And he was like, you remember that? He was like, you actually remember all? And he was impressed by my memory of it all, because I'm not supposed to remember any of this.
Right,
and there was a mission of a team going there in Davos and then capturing Klaus Schwab, because they said that in the actual mainstream news, that it would say that Klaus Schwab was hospitalized, which it did. It did say that Klaus Schwab was hospitalized, but he wasn't really hospitalized. He was captured as a high value target. And this was part of a black operations missions that go on, that are part of the white hat missions that are happening, that are going on behind the scenes.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that puts a lot of light on the situation there. So what about these, you said that, have you been able to, or have you accidentally recently jumped a timeline and got maybe discombobulated to get back, or you were on a timeline?
Oh, it's like that for me all the time. Right. I'm like, it's 24/7. I'm so multidimensional and stuff, where I'll wake up and I will have been somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Right. Definitely, I've been, and it's like that all the time. Like I'll go into the past, I'll go into the future. I'll see different timelines. It's actually what I like to call the field of fates. Is what I discovered it as, because going through finding the Illuminati, you go through what is the great work and finding the Grail, and which is illumination, and you go through the hero's journey, which the steps of the hero's journey are the world of common day, the call to adventure, the extraordinary world, the meeting with the mentor, the apotheosis, the receiving of the reward. Then you get the magic flight back, the master of two worlds, and then the freedom to live. And so I'm experiencing that because I'm becoming the master of two worlds, because I'm alpha and omega, because I'm merging dream and reality together, and that is what becoming the master of two worlds means, and then having the freedom to live, because you've united the two domains together. And so where was I at there? I forgot.
Well, we're talking about timelines. You're talking about mastering the two domains. Yeah.
So so in this part, you're obviously on the other side in Omega, where time and space, you're outside time and space. You're in an immaterial domain. It's dimensionless. That's why dreams and stuff are all over the place. We have to understand that we're in a different domain, that we actually can get lucid and control of, and that actually leads to more lucidity here in this domain. And so, but that's what they don't want. That's what they don't want as well. And so as going through the hero's journey, as my acceptance of because when I woke up, I'm like, Knight Templar. I wanted to be a Knight Templar. I wanted to be an Illuminati. I wanted to discover the Holy Grail. And so I went on the journey, and I went through a catabasis, which is actually a journey to the underworld, which is anyone can go through it, which is a journey into your unconscious.
Yes.
That's what the real catabasis is. And then once you go through the catabasis, you learn about the river Styx, which is the river of all the souls that are trying to get out. And you learn about the field of fates, which is also basically you get to experience every timeline, and every future, every past, that experience. I've experienced that, because I've experienced timelines where things went good for me, and I have experienced timeline where things went bad for me. And
I want everyone to know it's not always pleasant what you're going to see on those different timelines.
It's definitely not.
When you're aware of it, though, and you're going through like the river and all the stuff you're just talking about, and seeing the souls, I was aware I was going through this, and I wasn't full of fear, but it was just to know that there's another existence of this was shocking, very shocking.
Yep. It's the something more, the something more that science doesn't acknowledge, that the science, but exists, definitely. And so I the extraordinary world, and everybody wants the extraordinary world. Nobody wants the ordinary world. Everybody wants the extraordinary world. But you have to be willing to go through what it takes to be in it. And I did. And so I went through the field of fates, and experienced all the good and all the bad. And that led to the Jacob's Ladder. And once you get to Jacob's Ladder, that is where you learn about illumination. And illumination is the bridge. It is the bridge between the worlds. It's ascending up Jacob's Ladder into Empyrean, and Empyrean is the realm of just mind. And that is where my journey took me, and where I got to the cathedral beyond the veil. Where I actually had my apotheosis. I heard the music of the spheres, the most beautiful music you could ever imagine in your life. I've heard it. So I know that I've been through this, and I just want to have the magic flight back. And and that's the whole thing about the Matrix too is once he finds out about being the one, he comes back into the Matrix and then he's attacked by the agents, but he's able to defeat them effortlessly, because he's received the reward. And, that's what I've found too, because I've been attacked by agents and stuff too. Obviously it's been hard, but I have the upper hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely have the upper hand, and they know that, and they're done.
Yeah. No, that's good to know. I think people need to know the positive parts of where our trajectory is going and get in the right mindset. What do you tell people today? What can they do to be more educated on the light? What do you recommend them going to your website or reading your books? Like,
Yeah.
what do you tell your students?
So what I learned, obviously through the process, was, you can go to my website. It will lead you definitely to the truth. But the first degree of the enlightened was the Illuminati. That I found out later was you go through every religion, all the religions of the world. That's actually what the Illuminati's work does. You can go to armageddonconspiracy.uk and find their work. It's 233 books. They have 6 Patreons of 600. It's the most comprehensive, extensive, great work you will ever find in your whole entire life. It will lead you to every answer you've ever had. It will explain every problem, and lead you to every answer, because it is the grand unified theory of everything. It explains everything. So the first degree is learning about every religion, and every religion is a mythos religion. They're all mythos religions based on stories, and stuff like that. But all the mythos religions lead to logos, the logos religion of reason and logic, which is illumination, which is mathematical, philosophical, scientific. And that's what all the mythological religions lead to, is the logos religion, which is illumination, which does explain everything. And the first degree is realizing that all the world's religions are mythos, and then actually creating your own mythology and seeing how you can do it, and then you understand it, and then you move on into illumination.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we put your website up there so people can contact you and check out all your books and stuff. And I think, the whole thing with the Illuminati, it's really a misunderstood organization that has a lot of science to offer.
Yeah, they
And the
definitely
reason,
say that in their books. They're like we are the most controversial, misunderstood organization that there is.
which verifies it's important to read, because
Well,
if they weren't attacked so much.
All of their books were banned by Amazon, and
Yeah.
also it was put on the list of prohibited books by the Vatican.
Well, there you go.
So
that says enough right there.
Yeah.
Anytime you see that, jump on board with whoever it is, Amazon, other religions, banning things, that it's just a sure indication that there's another agenda, that they're putting disinformation out there about the text.
I mean, what they're trying to do is stop us from knowing what's happening and what we're evolving into.
Mm-hmm.
Because the universe is actually intelligent. That's what that's what science doesn't want to admit, but it is intelligent. It has our back. It responds to us, to our thoughts, and we. So that's what's going to be part of the next context of existence, too. Is people knowing that the universe is intelligent and co-creating with it, and it having our back instead of it understand it's all dead matter. It's intelligent matter, which is going to lead to a whole new paradigm shift in consciousness, and that's what the enlightened ones know is coming, and that's what I know I've been prepared for.
Yes.
So that's what I'm here to, teach, regulate, because I know, because even Peter said, I'm not going to be so surprised, about what I see in the sky, when it all happens.
Right.
The great intimidation is what they call it, because people are going to be intimidated. There's going to be different types of people. There's going to be the religious worshipers, that are like, oh my God, and then there's going to be the, the scared out of their pants people that are just going crazy. And then there's going to be the high intellectuals that are like, I told you so, everybody, the narcissists that are like, I told you. And then there's going to be the people that are just, with it, like us, that have been waiting, that are here to just teach everybody about what is going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I can see that happening. It's going to happen, and it'll be a very interesting time.
I've seen floating city in the sky. I've
Hmm.
seen
Yeah.
a literal it looked like a staff, like a I forgot what we call it, but it has a globe on the top of it. It had a globe on the top of it, and then there was a city on the inside of it, and it was just floating. It was just floating across the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the
Peter confirmed it too. He's like, you're not going to be so surprised when you see floating cities in the sky. And then I saw a floating city in the sky.
well, he predicted that one.
Yeah.
But a lot of these, lights in the sky and orbs and all these pictures, they are enfolded within them, not just maybe a UFO or just an ET, but entire civilizations. And depending on your, how you're looking at it and what they want to transmit to you to see for the message and download that they're giving you, you can see these things all the time. And there's many people have seen this. We've seen it on a lot of our expeditions. It's great that you talk about the entire floating cities, coming in, because it's not far-fetched for me, because I've seen it. I know what they're capable of, and a lot of this stuff is going to be pretty enlightening for the rest of the world to see. Do you think they have to do this to show to get believers, or to snap you out of the program?
Yeah, I learned, like, from my mentor. He's like, humanity is getting prepared for a grand event, is what what he said. And this grand event is what they call the Great Intimidation. And it is going to be intimidating, because the whole reality that everybody knew is just, they're going to see what's really going on, because that's what everybody thinks too, is it's 2026. But it's that was all just a created time for us to think. And it ain't 2026, I'll tell you that. Like, the years that the elite actually, the Anut Coptus is actually 4,000 years ahead. So 6,026. Imagine that. Imagine that just being revealed.
Yeah, and what about the revealing of that we've kind of been in the Matrix? Like, what was the reasoning for that? Why are we, going through this?
Oh well, I mean, it was all been in for control. Control.
Mhm.
That's what the Matrix has been for. But it's obviously that was actually the Matrix. The Matrix. There are different corporations that are behind the shadow corporations. And
Right.
I learned about like the NSA, DARPA, CIA, FBI. I learned about these corporations from the ACIO files.
Mhm.
And they are the shadow corporations like Murkoff, Mobius, Monarch, Umbrella. Umbrella is actually real.
It's real.
There's Shoreline, Ultimate, Kruger, and Typhon are all interdimensional corporations that I learned about from the ACIO. And I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, you're just saying the corporations they're above the shadow government.
Oh, right. Oh, the
Yeah.
Matrix. Yeah, and responsible for the Matrix. And in April of 2024, the Matrix, the old Matrix, it was down. It went down. So on April, I know on April in 2024, the old Matrix went down. So we're dealing with the transition into a new context, into a new of existence, emerging. It's going to be emerging of realities, which that's why
Right.
we're seeing all the activity that we're seeing.
Right. Well, Anthony, we do have questions, so let's look at the. I'll have Cameron put some questions up. Let's see. I'll start with who are they that? Okay, well, we kind of answered this, but Kim asked, and Anthony, who are they that were used tech to mimic helicopters and planes that surround you?
That is the secret space program. That is the Nazi secret space program. Dark Fleet.
Mm-hmm. Kim was asking, if you put on a super soldier suit, did it change your brain function and your physical function, or was it just the suit that did most of the heavy lifting?
No, it's not a suit. It's you are the suit.
Yeah, you are the suit, right? Do you remember what super soldiers had for food?
Oh, that I don't. I've gotten that question before, but you're it's a clone. It's a clone. So it's like probably on a regen
temporary clone just for that mission. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll just bring them up and expend.
Is Anthony privy to the direction of our planet and humanity? We kind of just covered that. Matt Gallagher says, so are these memories from the past lives and the SSP coming to you in dreams or as an epiphany as you awaken? How does it work?
Yeah, that is what happens. Is it comes in dreams and awakening, because I do have memories of in the Akashic records. That's why I get all my past life memories back, and then there's mixing in with SSP memories. So I'll have past life memories, I'll have SSP memories, I'll have dreams, and then I'll be able to sort out all the different experiences, and then during the day I'll have times where I'll get triggered, and then I'll have a memory come back of a mission that I was doing. I don't know, some kind of drug cartel mission in Colombia or something, because I've been that's the extent that I've learned is I've been on drug cartel missions, sabotage, I've been on a lot evacuation, actually. One mission that I found out, because what I found out about was when I got access to my files, and I talked to Peter the Insider. He's like, yes, you are a Kruger super soldier. You are a Kruger super soldier, but you are also a Monarch super soldier. You are infiltrated into Monarch, so you have been on both sides. So I learned that I'd been on both sides. He said, but what I was doing was good. Was what he said. He said what I was doing was good, which explained a lot of the missions and infiltration and all that stuff that I was doing, like as a spy. And I remember an evacuation mission where we were on a planet, and there was a city by an ocean. It was like a glass city. It was beautiful, like this glass city. And I remember ships going down and touching down in the city, evacuating people. And I was in a building, and I remember a huge plasma ball coming from the sky and slamming into the water, and just a huge tidal wave, shock wave, just coming at me like nuclear bomb. And I just remember seeing the whole city getting destroyed in front of me. And then the bomb hit. It hit the building I was in. And then when it hit, I took my hand and I slammed it on the ground, and then a bubble formed around me, and all the glass like slowed down to just to like everything slowed down around me, and I created like this time bubble around me, and I was able to jump on someone right next to me, and then I woke up from that memory, but I found out later that that they did destroy that planet. Yeah.
Wow. Anthony, what is the Lisa Murray asked, Anthony, what is the most compelling, shocking, beautiful experience you've had? One that stands out above the rest, and why? I mean, there's so many. I understand when people ask me that, it's just I can't pick just one.
Yeah. I mean, the music of the spheres was really that when I even mentioned that, my soul just wants to cry. But another one was like where I was like in the fields of Elysium, like I was in these rolling fields like of Elysium, and just like it was just beautiful. And I remember seeing these structures that were just like, it was, I can't explain it, but it was just it looked alien, and but it was just like this floating thing, and it was beautiful, but it was in this field of Elysium for sure. But I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, I've been around.
Yeah, that passport's too full right there. Hey, Dwight Gonzalez, how you doing, Dwight? Has your DNA been changed and or manipulated?
Yeah. That when I was they were doing that when I was a kid, and when they were taking me in deep underground military bases, they were manipulating my DNA. I actually believe that I have wolf DNA in me. I feel like I have wolf DNA, and I don't know what else, but that was probably part of the super soldier program, which actually Peter Ascending, they actually show him. He's a super soldier, and they spliced him with wolf DNA.
Yeah, they do a lot of splicing in the projects with DNA from different types of animals and insects and plant life, and infuse special abilities and characteristics into the DNA. It doesn't mean you're going to look like a wolf or a mantis, but you might get, the upregulation of your DNA in some minute fashion, when you're cloned or when you're put into a body, and that harmonic resonancy of whatever they did to you, even if it was in the clone or in the, whatever, it comes back with you. So you actually, and it does, we've proven that your DNA changes once you've been put into a conscious body or once you're part of these clone programs, and it comes back. The memory of the DNA, because don't forget, we're all talking about the DNA and lineage, of Anthony, and how it's special to be able to hold these vibrations and these upgrades. Jarvis wants to know 6,000 years. Well, tell us more, please, about, you mentioned that we're actually 6,000 in the year 6,000, I think is what he meant.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I found out from the Anut Coptis, like the Masons and stuff. They keep their time different, and the Anut Coptis says that it's 4,000 years ahead of what we are right now.
Right. Yeah, we kind of covered that. Well, Anthony, I know we went over a little bit. Sorry about that, but I'm sure we started a little late too. I want to thank you for coming on, and I think we should definitely probably do some more of these, because this is just the tip of the iceberg of what Anthony is going through. We can't,
that's actually what that one agent said to me that came and after the VA. He said, "Oh yeah, and this is all just the tip of the iceberg."
Yeah, no, exactly. That's kind of our lives, getting just some of the information out is the most important right now for us, to stimulate you guys consciously and to researching a lot of the stuff we talk about and educating yourself, about what's, let's hear all the stories and let's put it together yourself, and going out and making that initiative to find out things is where it first starts, and becoming part of that process and being aware, and to taking up mindful things like your food and meditation and workout is really important to have a strong energetic field because of the bombardment of all the things that happens that are out there. So on a closing note, I do want to make sure, don't forget your nano emerald green. Anthony, I'll send you some.
Oh, nice.
This is helps with the 5G, 6G Wi-Fi protection. It's made with calentrazines from the jellyfish down in the Marianas Trench. They live the longest, so there's a lot of regenerative stuff in here. It also has the nano zinc particle in it, the famous aquafarine nano blue. Everything that's in there is also inside the nano emerald green. And then we have one where we mix both of them together. It's called Oceanic, and you can read about that. I know Cameron will put it up there. What you see me drinking during this is the nano rose gold colloidals that we have, nano pink. Here it is. And that's a pure essence of gold that we put in there. It's kind of like Ormus, orbitally rearranged monatomic elements. And then the new one we have is the platinum gold bismuth, which is platinum gold bismuth, quartz, and silica. And this is primarily used to destroy the ingredients in here have been proven, bismuth, to destroy the H. pylori bacteria that a lot of people are having right now because of the influx of a lot more people in the country. And the H. pylori bacteria creates micro tears in the stomach. So if you do eat some contaminated food, those pathogens will go right into your bloodstream. So it's about healing the gut lining and killing some of these bacteria, parasites, funguses, and molds that are, everyone carries these things, but they get.
I need some of that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to send you a care package with it. And let me know how you think about it, because the colloidals in there too, especially when we're talking about orbitally rearranged monatomic elements, are really great for people that are doing meditations, want to astral travel. It helps decalcify the pineal gland. So there's a lot of cool things on that site. Check it out. And if you have any questions about the scans, we still do the full body scans with scalar and cosmotic energies. We just need a fingernail clipping or a hair follicle in your picture. It's kind of reverse engineered stuff from the James Webb Telescope, where we take a picture of a planet light years away. We know all the elements on it. So we did that also as a reverse engineer for the body. So we can actually do that with the body with the scan. You can reach me at emerystarlabs@gmail.com. You can just register Emery Star Labs and subscribe as well. We have emerystarscan@gmail.com. And what's a good way they can get a hold of you, Anthony?
I think you have my website on there.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah, I can got through that way for sure.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank everyone for your support, everyone for coming on to see this, because I think Anthony is going to be a big part. He's already a big part of disclosure. He's also a big part of transforming the universe and the world to a better place. And we really appreciate you coming aboard and doing that, because we need all the help. We need leaders like you that are going to talk the truth and educate people on what's really happening and what you can do to help out as well. So Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you, Emery, so much. Yeah, it's just important to know that we are all creators, in this universe, and we definitely are. The universe has our back, and we are definitely becoming everything and more, than what we've been. So, yeah. But yeah, I'll be talking at the Conscious Life Expo, here in Destin, Florida, in August 1st. So yeah, I definitely am just continuing on with bringing this knowledge into the world, because I know that this is my mission, and I won't stop until this world is transformed. So
Well,
everybody knows the light, and becomes the light, because that is what we're becoming.
very beautiful, very well put. Thank you, Anthony. Until next time, we'll do another part 2. I think that would be helpful.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Cameron, and thank you, my wife, Darla, behind the scenes that made all this happen. We really appreciate you guys. Until next time.